Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right, I'm going to call this, call to order the regular meeting of the Fairfield Planning Commission for February 27th, 2009. Can I get roll call, please?
Yes, Commissioner Wood, Commissioner Wesley, Commissioner Cohn, Commissioner Brandt.
Yeah.
Commissioner Pattis, Commissioner Walker, and Commissioner McDonald.
Yes. That gives us a quorum, right?
Yes.
All right. Commissioner Walker, would you lead us in the pledge? There are speaker cards in the lobby area. If you plan to speak this evening, please make sure you fill out one of the green cards out there in the front, put the agenda item that you wish to speak on, or just under public comments. Make sure that you put your name and information on the card, and then deliver it up here either ahead of the agenda item or now if you have them in your hands. You'll be given 3 minutes to speak. You'll speak from my right side, your left side on the podium over there. Watch the light in the center. You'll need to turn the mic on with the button, and then the light will turn yellow when your 3 minutes has 1 minute left. So watch for that, though. I don't know, Jess, you may have to go over when we're speaking just to watch that light. Next, I would like to move for the approval of the agenda, and I believe we have a change on the agenda this evening.
Yes, we have one change to the agenda for item B. It was scheduled tonight. It is a subdivision map for Planning Area 3, the Planning Area 3 of the train station specific plan, Travis Crossing. After your agenda packet went out to you, staff had some additional discussions with the applicant. There is a condition that is proposed in the planning conditions for the project that applies some impact fees at a higher rate than a typical project would receive. The applicant understands the reasons behind that condition, but some additional information has come to light for staff that has allowed us to understand that there's some additional discussion that needs to happen with the applicant so that that condition is completely precise and is what staff would actually recommend to you. So the applicant and staff both concur that this item should be continued to your next agenda, which would be March 13th. And so that would be item A on your next agenda.
Okay, if the commission will recognize that...
I move we approve the agenda. Change the agenda to eliminating items.
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
Second from Pattis, and if the commission prior now would just recognize that Chuck Wood is in attendance, we have him here, and then if we get all those in favor of moving for the approval of the agenda with the modifications, show of hands. Jesse?
Aye.
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 Thank you. All right, so moved unanimously.
And Commissioner,
yes.
since it looks like there is a member of the public that came to speak on that item, I would just let them know that they could speak during public comment if they'd like to, or at the next public hearing.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll go with the approval of the minutes for January 23rd, 2019. Do we have any changes, modifications?
Commissioner Pattis was present at that meeting.
Okay, so that's a change, correct?
Correct, not absent.
We approve the minutes 23rd with correct.
Second?
Second.
Second from Branch. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So moved unanimously. Okay, this is the time for the public comments to speak on matters that are not on the agenda, but within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. Items of the public that are part of this agenda will be taken under consideration without discussion or any action by the Commission except as authorized by law, but may be referred to staff, and I will now open the public comments. And again, because we have made a modification to tonight's agenda, is that Ville? Agenda item, I'm sorry, B, JD, right? JD, sorry, I was reading backwards there. JD, do you want to come up and speak now? Great.
Hi, good evening. My name is JD McKeel. I'm a resident of Whitney Park and also the president of the Whitney Park Owners Association. I was going to speak on item B. Now I understand that's off the agenda. I had mostly a general question which might be addressed in the staff report regarding Markley Lane. If the project includes an extension of Markley Lane to meet Peabody Road, because otherwise we'd have significant traffic concerns, as Viking and Whitney already become pretty impacted due to school and other regular traffic, that if there's additional residences without Markley actually meeting Peabody at that traffic signal, we'd have some significant traffic concerns
Yeah,
there.
clarify one thing for me before we start. This area that you said president of the homeowner association?
Correct.
Is this the area of houses that's immediately south of this project? And east of Peabody Road?
I'm very bad at maps. I'm going to say yes. It's, yes,
And then on the other side of you is the high school.
that's correct.
Okay, so you're that block of land.
Yeah, immediately abutting that large open space and Vanden High School.
And then the retention pond on the other
Yes.
side. Okay, I know you're.
What's the name of the association?
Whitney Park Owners Association?
Yeah, this subdivision is the most immediate south, to the south, set of houses, yeah. Okay. So I will answer the question, and the answer is yes. What you will, if you read the conditions, the project is required to construct the reconnection of Markley to the new intersection at the foot of the overcrossing. Markley used to connect a little farther to the north. Right now, that overcrossing, that intersection would be about 20 foot in the air up the overcrossing. So you'll see that there is essentially a half-designed intersection there, ready to accept a new Markley Road.
Mhm.
This project is required in the staff conditions to reconnect Markley.
That's great news. May I ask one more quick question?
Sure.
Again, I'm pretty bad at maps. I apologize. Does this project encompass that entire open space that's immediately next to my neighborhood, or will there still be some field left?
So to the north of your neighborhood, between your neighborhood and the train track, you've got
Correct.
a sound wall. To the north of the sound wall, this project is just a small portion. It's about 9 acres of all of that area. All of that area is probably 100 acres.
Oh, wow, okay.
Roughly a third or more of that will be permanent open space. It's heavily impacted by wetlands. So this is a small portion of the developable part of what's to the north, but it's the one that's required to connect Markley Lane.
But it's also in the total project, I think there's a park in the middle of this
Correct.
also.
There's a
large-
5-acre neighborhood park that would be eventually built by the city up there, and this project would construct essentially one of the access roads to that.
So for those of us whose homes currently overlook an open space, there will still be permanent open space there,
Yes.
is what I'm hearing.
Yes,
Okay.
there will be the eastern half of that open area to the north. If you look to the east, you'll see there's sort of an elevated former railroad line. About half the land out towards that railroad line will remain as permanent open space. The area immediately, a portion of the area immediately north of the wall will remain as permanent open space between the wall and Markley Lane.
Okay, I understand. Thank you very much for your
So
time.
I got to make sure that's clear, that we heard the same thing. So where the present houses are, I can't remember if there's a wall or a fence
There's a
there.
wall.
Just on the other side of that
Mhm.
wall is open space.
It's undeveloped. I wouldn't, I mean, you could call it open. It's not
But it can't-
permanent open space right now. With development of that area, a portion of the land immediately on the other side of that wall would be a detention basin, essentially to catch water, so it would be permanently open.
But there would also be would there be any houses adjacent to the present wall that's there eventually?
Don't recall. I don't
I think that
recall.
was your question, right?
More or less.
Yeah. What I will do is to ensure that with the staff report and that comes for the next item, or when we resend this to you for the 13th, you'll keep the packet that you've got. We'll add some additional information that gives that larger context,
That answers
and we'll
those
show
two-
some information on the screen
on those two questions.
on those 2 questions, and it'll probably open up some other questions as well.
Yeah, my suggestion would Google satellite has great images. If you could just draw it out, that would be very helpful, I think, to everybody.
We'll bring that contact.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and sorry for the inconvenience, and hopefully you'll be here on the 13th. Okay, seeing no more cards, I'm going to close the public comments. And the next item on our agenda is for scheduled matters. For each agendized item, there will be a presentation by city staff. For items that involve application requests, I will then ask the applicant to address the planning commission if they so desire. Then I will open the public comments and hearing for the names of the members of the public who have filled out a speaker cards to come forward to the podium to speak. Again, a red light will flash, giving you a warning when your 3 minutes is up. I will then close the public hearing after the speakers have addressed the commission and after all the questions regarding the testimony during the public hearing have been answered. After the public hearing is closed, the planning commission will deliberate on each of the items and have additional questions for staff. Now, we cannot take additional testimony after additional testimony or questions from the audience after the public hearing has been closed. So make sure if you're going to speak, you're going to speak then. The commission will then vote on the item. Our first item is item A, the annual report of the city's general plan, and our staff person is Brian Miller. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, members of the commission. State law requires an annual report on implementation of the general plan. We do this every spring, and so this is the next in our long series. Since 2002 was the last major update of the general plan. It basically reviews all the activities associated with all the elements, including the land use element and the housing element, which are two of the most critical general plan elements, of course. Just give you a brief overview of some of the key development projects in 2018. We had several projects that were either under construction or approved during the year, including Astaire, a mixed-use live-work project in the Cordelia area at the foot of Nelson Hill, Garden Stone in central Fairfield, Ivy Strawberry in eastern Fairfield. That's a project that's been around, kind of on the radar for some time, and it's now actually moving forward, and some additional development in Paradise Valley Estates as they expand their project. This is not an exhaustive list, but these are just some of the highlights I wanted to bring out. Similarly, for commercial, industrial, and office projects, the shops at Solano Town Center, they're pretty much almost all full with the new Habit Burger and the new sandwich place. There's been several new industrial projects you can see in the Bush and Solano Business Park areas that are under construction, almost finished now. McGrath Electric near Peabody Road is ready to be finalized, basically, certificate of occupancy. And of course, one of the most noticeable projects is the Partnership Health Plan's second building by the interstate, major employer in the city.
It's over there by the garbage company?
Yes.
You drive in there, it's on the left?
Right. Yeah. Land use element, we did our ongoing zoning ordinance cleanup in 2018. One Lake was one of the major land use element actions as well. And you've been informed about some of the Heart of Fairfield specific plan activities associated with the land use element. The housing element, 313 units, including one ADU. 4 ADUs received planning approvals. Not all those units have pulled building permits yet, but at least they went through the planning approval process. We continue to operate certain programs, housing choice vouchers through our housing authority. I wanted to highlight also the Veterans Administration Voucher Program and the new program for the home tenant-based rental assistant, which is tied to families rather than specific projects per se. Other elements I wanted to highlight: open space conservation and recreation. There are several park capital improvements. The Cordelia Community Park has been completed. The Community Spaces Initiative, which you're all familiar with, Allenwood Park and the Linear Park. And of course, we can't forget the Pacific Flyway Center, which the project continues to move through the entitlement process. Circulation element, I might mention transit improvements are continuing to be in plan, Jefferson Parkway. And of course, the train station opened and is fully operational, as I can confirm from personal use. Public facilities and services, urban water management plan, the capital projects program, which you will see actually in March. We'll bring the capital projects list to you for your consistency finding with the general plan. Economic development, we can't forget North Texas Street, but certainly a lot of programs for downtown and our ongoing business recruitment and retention efforts. I might also mention Travis Air Force Base. We continue to work with the Travis Community Consortium, and there's been some meetings with the base to coordinate future activities at the base, and including some land that they are no longer using for housing. So you'll probably hear about that in the near future as well. Our recommendation is you receive the annual report on the general plan. This will be going to council in March. I should also point out that there's a much more detailed spreadsheet-based report that we're submitting to the state as required. That's going to be on the city's website. I did not print out a 45-column, 410-line spreadsheet showing the status of every single building permit we've ever issued, which the state now requires. But if you want to see that kind of information, it's available on the city's Community Development Department's homepage. I can answer any questions.
To be clear, we don't need to make any motions on this. This is just an acceptance by the commission.
Yes, this is an
and to clarify
acceptance.
Any questions or
Acceptance,
anything that we have. So we'll start with questions and start with you, Gary. You have anything? Gary?
We've gotten some reports on, I think, about 5 phases on Allenwood Park. How's that coming along?
Well, I know the planning, I don't know a lot of details, and maybe Dave can fill it in, but I know the first phase of, did you say Allenwood? I'm sorry, okay. Calendar and Associates is working with our Public Works Department and our staff as well on the design of some of the first phases. That's the main activity that's going on right now. So you should see further information on that, I believe, this year.
Yeah. So again, so we approved the community spaces plan, which was the vision. We're now
Right.
into design for the first phases of
Right.
it, and construction later on this year.
One other one, the second water line that was going, was it Cordelia area? So that there was 2 sources of water, wasn't it, to Cordelia?
Yeah, that was one of the projects that Public Works is certainly continues to work on as part of their overall capital projects plan, capital projects program.
I was just wondering when that's expected to be done.
I do not have a date for that. When we bring the capital projects program to you, we can have that information for you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Branch, anything? Commissioner Wood? No, thanks. Okay, and the commission will receive, well, hold on, we've got to go to public comments first, so let me put up public comments. We have no public speaking cards, so we'll close public comments and bring it back to the commission to receive this report. Okay? Thank you, Brian. Be home safe. Seeing that item B has been moved to the 13th, we are now at Information and Communications, the Director's Report. Do you have anything for us, Dave?
Yeah, I have one item for you. At your last meeting, I had noted that Kevin Snyder, the city's community development director, had left, took a job with the city of Indio, a similar position down by Palm Springs. In the interim, I have been named as the interim community development director until
Congratulations.
a permanent director has been hired. Yes.
Are we going out afterwards?
No, I have work I have to do.
Yeah, congratulations or condolences, whichever you would
Whichever
decide
applies.
is
That's the
appropriate.
that I've
Thank you.
used that very long. But so previously, I was focused just on running the planning division, staffing the planning commission. So in the interim role, I'm still doing that. We're not backfilling that role for me, but I'll also be overseeing our housing authority, the city's building division, and our economic development division, and supervising the managers for those. So in the interim, we're a little short-staffed, but as I've said to others, I've been with the city for 24 years, so have a pretty good history of a lot of the issues we're dealing with. So I think I think we're in good condition, at least until a permanent director is hired. So with that.
Awesome. I'll bring it back to the commission for any final comments.
Was this given to us?
Who is it addressed to? Is it addressed to you particularly, or the commissioner?
Yes.
It's just mail that was provided to you because it was mailed to you?
Otherwise known as junk mail.
Well, I didn't know whether you were.
No, I don't put your mail out, so I'm guessing, I figured it was addressed.
All right, we're officially 19 minutes into this, so
Yeah?
we've got a rocket meeting this evening. All right, any final comments from the commissioners? Perry?
Just wanted to recognize the improvement in the packet. All the holes are punched, all the pages are numbered, and the colored pages between the items again.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
Okay, we've hired an office specialist as well who will help ensure that we've got plenty of administrative support to make sure those things are covered.
Anybody else? Anything? Awesome. This meeting is adjourned until March 13th. Enjoy, be home safe. Thank you.
Fastest meeting ever. Fastest meeting ever. How you doing, Chuck? I'm doing all right.